Chris. This is video 4. Today's topic is, I don't know, the thing that's been on my mind all day is dating. Dating in 2021 as opposed to dating in 1998. The last time I actually really remember the process being a whole lot different than it is now. And I say that because back in the mid-late 80s, early 90s, dating for us was there was a process. You know what I mean? You didn't go straight from meeting a person to taking them home. I mean, some people did. That's kind of a layover from the 60s and 70s free love movement. But like, you know, you had a process. You had to get to know that person. But first you had to find out if they were even interested in you. You know, simple. Do you like me? Yes or no? You know, circle on a little piece of paper, a little origami games with the little boxes, you know, with the colors and then the numbers, and then you flip it over, and it was the easiest way that you had to break the ice with the person you were interested in, right? And then you had, you know, like the promise rings and promise necklaces, or you would do something to show that person that as long as you were both interested in each other, no one else would get involved. You know, you wouldn't share that attention and affection and effort with anyone else. The process, as I remember it, was you met someone, you courted them, meaning taking the time to get to know them, not romantically, but just as a friend. And then you would ask them to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. And that's when the dating process started. Now, in the dating process, you'd only reach that is if through the courting process you saw that this was the type of person you could see as a mate or a spouse or partner or wife, husband, long-term member in your family, not just a person for the moment. Once you reached the dating process, dating was really just a filler. It was just a going through the motions before the guy could obtain the engagement ring and propose to his future wife. The engagement was really short-lived. It was really just a shorter window than the dating process, because by the time you went through courting, you already knew you wanted to be with this person. You already saw them as a person you could settle down with, and then you dated them and to give you time to lock them in, to give you time to get the ring, to propose to them if you were the man. As a woman, the dating process was to lock you in and give your man time to finalize his efforts on his end to provide you with the ring to make you willing and acceptable of taking his last name. The engagement was so much quicker than dating because you already knew you were going to marry this person, and they probably have already spent their life picking out a wedding dress and a place they want to get married, and how many people were going to be in their wedding party. So it wasn't a difficult thing once she said I do to your proposal to pick a place, date, and time. It was really just waiting on maybe the season, or waiting on a specific family member to be able to get there, like her mom, her dad, or her nana, or her tata. It was never convenience for popularity or to follow a trend. So like, courting was probably the longest you spent with that person before marriage, because in the courting process, that usually took, let's just be honest, it usually took like 2 to 6 months. of just being friends, of no sexual intimacy, nothing that was considered um, immoral. You know what I mean? It wasn't rushed. It wasn't something you just, oh, I meet her, she's pretty, or he's handsome, she's got a nice body, or he's got a nice body, or they live good, or she lives good. And it wasn't a rush to obtain what that person had visually. It was, you took the time. You took the time to find out their likes, their dislikes, their fears, their desires, their goals, things that they get discouraged by, their insecurities, their strengths, but most of all, their weaknesses were accepted. You know, you took the time to figure out, even if this person is the jealous type, or is the insecure type, or is the overprotective, or smothering type, or clingy, as most people call it. You took the time to decide if this was the right person for your future. Not for the night, not for the weekend, not for the week, not for the month. For your future, not for a couple years. I think the biggest reason this irritates me is because these were the fundamental principles and morals that I was taught dating was supposed to be around. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not Mr. Perfect. I haven't always, had Mrs. Right. A lot of my experiences are from Mrs. Right now, or being Mr. Right now and not being Mr. Right. And that just stems from me not sticking to my own morals and principles, not sticking to those fundamental values and the basic foundation of dating and finding a partner that were given to me. Do I regret that? No, because in going through the mistakes that I have in life, I've learned to be more aware of why I make the choices I make, more conscious of what I'm drawing to me as opposed to what I'm hoping to get attracted to. A lot of those moments I realized I was not following the process. And as time has changed, as we got to the early 2000s, to the mid 2000 teens, to 2021 now, the dating process has changed, man. At one point in the last 20 years, it was okay for a woman to walk up to a man and say that she just wants to be with him for the night, and that was okay. Growing up, that was never okay. Never okay. Never okay. Now, it's one thing for a woman to show interest, and that's not the same thing as making the first move, so I wish a lot of y'all would get that out of your head. It's just saying, hey, I get the impression you're interested in me. I'm also interested in you. That's it. I'm not asking you to take the dude out on a date. I'm not asking you to be the male, quote unquote, figure of the relationship that society has taught us that there is in a relationship of man and woman. I'm not asking you to wear the pants. I'm asking you to let the man know that it is a mutual interest. That's it. That's where a lot of us men fall short, because a lot of times we don't know that the right woman for us is actually interested in us, because we don't know the approach anymore. To a person that's trying to live godly, to a person that's trying to do everything the right way and try to stay within those guidelines, it's literally impossible for us to know how to approach women in the world unless a woman that is not of the world and a woman that is of the godly kingdom makes that clear. We get approached by women of the world all the time. That's nothing to us. We can go to the grocery store or the gas station or just sit outside our front door. And trust me, a woman of the world will approach us in some form or fashion. It's typical. But that's not what we want. That's not, when I say we, I'm just speaking from my personal perspective, the only advice that I could give from my situation. I am not looking for a woman of the world. I'm not looking for a woman that wants to be popular, wants to have a big following or a big fan base, wants to be known by a lot of people. I've never cared about accolades or popularity or being part of the crowd. I've never cared about that. So why would I want someone that does? Why would I want someone that wants to be the center of attention, wants to be the life of the party, if it's not our party? You see what I mean? If it's not our celebration, if it's not our function, if it's not our kickback, why do I want somebody that wants to be center of somebody else's event? That means you're not putting your focus on the same thing I'm putting my focus on, which is pleasing God before man and being able to do that peacefully with the person that's next to me. I very rarely come across a woman that tugs at my soul, but I always find someone that can please my body. I don't try to use it as a bragging point, or I don't try to use it as a encouragement to be okay living that immoral life. But if I'm honest with everyone, I have a lot more fun living worldly than I do living God. I have a lot more fun chasing after the things, quote unquote, of this world when it comes to dating than I do trying to find a wife. Because let's cut the crap. At this point in my life, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a wife, not a girlfriend, not a long-term living partner, not a helpmate for the moment. I am looking for a spouse, someone that is committed to me as much as I'm committed to them, someone that is invested in giving me their all as much as they're expecting me to be invested in giving them my all. I'm not trying to be out here just randomly hooking up anymore. That's old, bro. Like, we're done with that. Like, man, I did that probably more times before I was 15 than I ever want to do now, going on 38 in less than 2 months. You know what I mean? That's not something I aspire to. That's not something I dream about. That's not something that I wake up and I plan for. Honestly, at this point, every time I see someone of the opposite sex that I am attracted to or I do find appealing, I literally start breaking that down. What am I attracted to? Am I attracted to the physical appearance of this person I'm looking at? Or am I attracted to what's inside that person? And if I'm only attracted to the outside and I see nothing from within that gives me reason to think that it's more than just lust, bro, I'm attracted to you and I'll admit that, but that's pretty much where it'll stop. If I feel that it's more than just your physical appearance, I'll make the effort. I'll reach out. I'll do something. I'll show in some way that I am interested. But please believe, it's instilled in me that I'm not going to have to chase my wife down. I'm not going to have to pull her teeth just to get her to tell me that she's into me. I'm not going to have to convince her that I'm the one. She'll allow me the opportunity to show her, and that's about as much work as I'm willing to put in. I'm not saying you're supposed to say, oh God, Eli's my husband, I bow down and submit right away. No, I'm saying if you're interested in me, give me the chance. Give me the time to either show you or disprove to you that I am the type of man that you see as a husband. Because I need to take the time to see if you're my wife. I need to take the time to see if when I wake up in the morning and you ask me what I want for breakfast and I say eggs, bacon, and toast, that You're not going to say ew when I say what kind of eggs I want. You're not going to say ew when I say the kind of bacon that I used to eat or I'm used to eating. You're not going to downplay my choices against your preferences. You'll look at them and be like, oh, okay, well, this is what my husband wants, and this is what I want, so I guess if I want different, I have to make different. It's not going to be an argument, but also knowing I'm not asking something that's going to be too hard for you to give me. You know, I'm not expecting a wife to keep a clean house and raise our children if I'm not going to be willing to love her, support her, and provide for her on my end and give her the freedom and the comfortability to do those things. I can't expect her to still feel independent and able to function and live outside of me if I don't take the time to know what her love language is or what her relationship language is. If I don't know if she's the type of woman that needs reassurance, I don't know to provide reassurance. If I don't know if she's the type of woman that has insecurities and I need to be conscious of those insecurities and not inflate them or not use them to deflate her. There's just so many things that the courting process allows you to take up that we don't do anymore in society. Modern day just tells you if they're attractive, take a few minutes, talk to them, introduce yourself, and in a couple of minutes you'll know everything you need to know. No, you won't. No, you won't. The only way you'll know that is if you have taken the time to go to God first. In my situation, if I've taken the time to go to God first and wholeheartedly pray and lay out to Him what I'm looking for, but also how I fall short in obtaining that. You know, in order to get what I want, I need to become the type of person that can handle it. I need to become the type of person that can appreciate and be grateful for what I want when I get it and be able to maintain keeping it. Because if I'm not, then I'm basically the 14-year-old that is just barely practicing learning how to drive, and as soon as they get their permit at 15 or 16, decides they want a Lamborghini or a Porsche 911 and has never actually driven anything. And as soon as they get behind it, they wreck. That's not, no. I want to be the person that has taken the time to get to know my wife, not rushing it, because in some ways, in some situations, it's happened in a matter of days. In other situations, I've seen it happen in months. Some situations, people have been cool and have been cordial with each other for years and never crossed the line of even considering dating one another. And then one day, one moment, one time, something happened and it just happened. You know, we don't always get to pick and choose who our partners are until we're in the moment. You know, some people can tell you that they've spent years and years waiting and praying and hoping and changing for the type of person they want. And then all of a sudden, when they least expected it and started feeling like they were never going to find that person, wow, they run into them, or they realize that person's been there the entire time. So no, I don't support the modern day movement of Netflix and chill. I get so tired of hearing that. I even had a friend that tried to use the crazy term Hulu and do you or some crap like that. And it's just not. I'm not judging anybody for the way you guys date. I'm just telling you personally, for me, this isn't how I want to do dating anymore. This isn't the This isn't the life that I have in my head for dating anymore. You know, I'm so not okay with randomly having to start over every other day. You know, I've learned to just tell people what I want up front, straight from the gate. I'm looking for a wife. That may take some time to find with the way this world's set up now, with the way people date now, the way people view dating now, with their expectations of a partner. But if me telling you in our first meeting that I'm looking for a wife discourages you or pushes you away and uh, causes you to change direction and no longer be interested in me, then that's fine. I'm actually okay with that. You know, um, I'd rather spend the time with someone that actually wants to be my wife and court them before trying to date them and be engaged to them than to be so stuck on physical appearance, temporary gratification, momentary satisfaction, because it's never gone anywhere. It's never worked out. It's never benefited me ever. So I am not going to say I'm cursed to be alone at this day and age in our society, but if the process of dating now is meet someone and test drive the vehicle or sample the milk before purchasing the cow is the quote unquote way to go, I won't be having milk for quite some time. And I won't be test driving anything at all. Balancing, licensing, I guess that's the easiest way to put that. Not really, I'm just saying, metaphorically speaking, if I have to test drive my partner before knowing that I want to spend the rest of my life with her and then being able to drive the vehicle, that's not my partner. It's not my partner. That was never intended to be my partner and is never going to be my partner, because my partner is going to understand that we have to go through God first. We have to do it God's way. If we're not going to do it God's way, then we're not going to do anything. Plain and simple. If God's not going to be involved, if God's not going to be the center of it, then there is no it. You know what I mean? There's no trying to fix it later, because I got in the habit of doing that a lot. Let me clarify that too. A lot of us, we do dating now. A lot of the times I've done dating at this day and age was so backwards and so wrong. You know, I would sit there and meet a person in a very unhealthy environment, whether it be a club, function, and we'd kick it, things would go well, and I try to hook up with them, and we maybe in some occasions we would hook up. In other occasions, they would want to wait and see if I'm really interested in them, and it just seemed like no matter how I started the process, I was always trying to clean it up later. You know, I was always trying to ask God to okay everything later, to come through in the end and bless it and make it fruitful, and when things start to go haywire, to give us direction and protection. And it's so backwards, man. So backwards. Like a lot of times I was meeting people and getting into relationships and quote unquote committing to them, but going about it all the wrong way. Um,
Christian terms, fornicating with them or having unmarital sex. Um, and I'm learning that a lot of times I would ask God to make it okay after doing that, before even taking the time to know the person I was doing it with. You know, before even finding out if this was the type of person I could spend the rest of my life with. I'm already sharing soul ties with them. I'm already opening the door of my soul to them and sharing my body and my temple with them, not even knowing who they are or what their body and temple holds. I use the term soul ties because we do connect with each and every person that we share ourselves with in one way or another, whether it's the way we think about things after them or the way things affect us based off of memory or something that we shared with them. The significance of your involvement with everyone that you join yourself with sticks in some way. It's not always the same. It's not always the same aneurysms, the same perspective, or the same emotions. But with everyone you've been with, they take a part of you and you take a part of them. So I've learned to be mindful of the people I share my time with. And most of all, I'm very cautious of who I'm going to share my body. I don't know exactly the best way to go about that now because dating has changed so much. You know, you try to take the time to just get to know people, and in some situations, people have felt like I was leading them on. In other situations, people felt like I wasn't being genuine. Um, and that was mainly just because they didn't understand. Like, it wasn't that I was not interested in them, it's just I wanted to know more about them. I wasn't just interested in touching them and joining my body with theirs. I was interested in searching for a deeper, more spiritual, more mental, and emotional connection. I need more than just physical. I've had enough of that throughout my life, throughout my days. I need something more sustainable. I need to know that we can talk things out or we can talk about things instead of just feeling each other. You know, your body and your appearance can only satisfy me in those areas. How are we benefiting spiritually? How are we benefiting mentally to grow spiritually? How are we even able to join together in bed if we can't join together in nothing else? You know what I mean? We don't join together in praise and worship of the same God. We don't join together in uh, community efforts and values. We don't join together in family aspects and visions. Um, our habits and interests don't mesh well. You're interested in art and music, and I'm interested in violence and drama. They're never going to go together. You like watching action-packed movies and horror movies. I like watching animation and family-oriented movies. It's never gonna work well. You're never gonna find that. So why would I attach to that? Oh, because we've been tricked to thinking we can change the other person. We've been tricked to think if the other person cares about us enough, they'll change for us. Well, here's the kicker, buddy. That was the whole courting process. Is
significance. Because you go through the courting process, you'll find out everything you need to know about that person to where by the time you consider dating them, it's not a question on who you're with. Your level of trust has already been established. Your commitment to each other has already been established. And you know where they're headed. By the time you date, you already know, no, this person is with me, this person wants to be mine. I need to hurry up and finalize this. If you're like me on the male side, it should put in your head, all right, this is my girlfriend until she becomes my fiance, and I need to get to that point very quick. Girlfriend shouldn't last that long. Fiance shouldn't last that long. By the time I propose to my wife, we should have already had the discussion of marriage. We should have already had a discussion of location, involvement. Me and her, should have already determined if we want to do something small or something elaborate. If we want to go ahead and just us at the beginning and do a ceremony later on so that others can attend and we can afford it, we should have already had this conversation before anybody else. What goes on in my relationship is going to be based off my relationship. I don't like hearing advice from other people. I take their advice and their input most times and compare it to what I was already willing to do or what I was already considering doing. And if it doesn't add up, I'm not doing it. I'm not including it. It's not even coming up in conversation with the person I'm in a relationship with. Unless what I have gotten from other people is just a confirmation to what I already have decided on my own. Not influenced, not swayed, not following the trend, not jumping on somebody else's wave. It's what's set right with me for us. God, it just frustrates me so much. I hear so many people, so many guys that do want to settle down, that do want to have a family, that do want to be husbands, that do want to be fathers, that do want to provide and protect and love the person they're with in the right way. And unfortunately, I've also met so many women that feel they don't need a man to provide for them, feel that they can do it all on their own, and that's fine. I'm nothing against the independent, self-sufficient woman, but this is the same thing I say to the dude that says he don't need a female and trust no female, and don't love women. They'll only want you for your money or what you can provide for them. You're living a very lonely life, man. You're living a very lonely and sad life. And the reason I say lonely and sad is because we're not meant to spend long periods of time alone. We're not meant to do it all by ourselves. There is some things in the regular day-to-day life that if you had a partner, a spouse, a husband, or a wife there, would make things so much easier. Not because you need them there to do their part, but the reassurance that somebody is with you through your hardships, through your worries, through your dark times, and isn't just there for what they can get from you, but is there to what they can help you overcome. I can't even find the right words to describe how much that means to me. A person that has been through the ups and downs of relationships and a failed marriage. was blessed enough to get married at a younger age. I think I was barely going on 22. Yeah, I think about 4 months after I got married, I turned 22. Um, that marriage was not based on the right foundations. Again, like I said, I was always in the habit of trying to get God to clean things up later. Um, I'd already spent 3 years with that person. I'd already had a child that was going to be going on 3 in less than 5 months after we got married. I'd already been through so many ups and downs with that person, from fighting to having the cops call on us for just domestic issues, being accused of cheating even though I hadn't actually cheated on her. Don't get me wrong, there were times where it is still considered cheating, um, but we weren't actually together when I messed with other people. But then after messing with someone else, we would get back together, so I could see why that would be considered cheating, because I was supposed to just wait and be spending that time to work on the issues that caused us to separate or break up at the time. So I understand why it's viewed as cheating. It just wasn't technically what the actual meaning of cheating is. I've never been a cheater, but I understand the concept on the other person's end, why that looks like cheating. Okay, so let's make that clear right now. I'm not okaying anything. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm not overlooking anything. I'm basically saying I understand I was wrong in a lot of areas. I was not a loving husband. I was not a man of God, really, at that time. I was just barely, trying to get out of the life of being what most people consider a man in the streets, a thug, a hoodlum, gangster, hardcore dude in the neighborhood, whatever you want to call it. My past wasn't all that great, and I allowed that to affect my relationship. Um, so no, I can admit I was not a husband. I was not a father to our child, nor was I there to be a good father to the child that was on the way. Um, it did get to a point where I had expected a woman that was not getting loved and was not being led and was not being protected and was being provided for, but in all the wrong ways, for all the wrong reasons, to still stick around when things went haywire and I was no longer around. When I was incarcerated, I expected her to hold me down and be a ride or die chick. But it was there in prison where I was exposed to the Word of God. I did try to change my life and try to learn to live better, learn to live right. Unfortunately, me not maturing fast enough, I still made a lot of mistakes. That caused me to go back to prison. And I was realistic at that time, and I told her then there was no expectations I had. I did not expect her to wait. I finally realized who I was and what demons I had brought out in the course of being married to me. So I had to learn that in order to get the wife that I want, I need to be the husband that she needs. I need to be the husband that she desires. And I haven't always been that. And that's what I miss about the old process of dating. I miss that old factor that gave you the time to see not just if you had found the right person, but if you were the right person for them. You know, a lot of the times I've come to learn that as attractive as I find a woman, or as much as I may feel she is a woman of God, and she is after God's own heart, and she would be a great wife. I've also had to understand she's not my wife. You know, she's going to be a great wife, but she's not going to be my wife, because there are things that just show we are not going to be able to join as one in that area. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It doesn't make them any less of a good person, or it doesn't discredit their value that they will have as a wife and a partner. That's just saying you're being honest, and you're saying, you know what, I may not possess the traits and the characteristics to be a good husband to her. She may be a good woman. She may be a woman that is very supportive and very loving. But if I'm honest with myself, we may not share the same love language. We may not share the same viewpoints on parenting or financial status. We may not have the same responses to loss and hardship, and if we are not able to understand and relate to one another in those areas, the physical and lustful areas mean nothing. You know, that's just another hurdle that's in the way of us ever really growing. Because every time those moments are good, and we find out in other areas they're not so great, they cause hiccups. They cause slight discouragement, because some people, sometimes, if I'm honest with myself, I'm like, well, dang, how are we so able to, in the moments of intimacy and passion, how are we so able to enjoy and be satisfied and relish those moments, but when it comes to being emotionally connected, we're just bleh. There's nothing there. We don't share common viewpoints. We can't even joke together because our level of joking is so different. One minute I'm too serious and they're not serious enough. The next minute they're taking something too serious and I'm blowing it off as a joke because it's not that serious to me. You know, these things people ignore because they say opposites attract. No, they don't. We are all different people, but those that are, in a biblical sense, equally yoked, meaning those people that are like-minded, those people that are in a position in life to share the same outlook on something. They can look at the same situation and feel the same way without either one of them convincing the other person why they feel that way. Even on the areas they disagree, you still disagree and agree wholeheartedly out of love, not out of I'm right, you're wrong, not me trying to prove a point to you and you trying to prove a point to me. It's just me coming to understand your viewpoint was right and my viewpoint was wrong, so thank you for sharing. But God, this topic bothers me so much because it's like, you know, you have so many different ways of dating that will show the type of person you are. And I'm not gonna lie, I've tried it all. You know, the social medias, the dating apps, the networking through people you're close to, sticking to those in your circle. And in my experience, it just feels like searching for love in all the wrong places, because my belief and my understanding of love, I'm now learning, is all wrong. You know, for the longest time, I believed you're only going to find love in areas you're familiar with. You're only going to find love with people you're familiar with. So take the time to know those people in the areas you frequent, and that'll be where you find love. And a lot of times, it's not. A lot of times it turned out to be wrong. You know, I've been blessed to have some great friendships with people of the opposite sex. And some of those friendships maybe could have been more. I didn't see it as that until after the fact, when the option was no longer there. Other situations, I wanted to be more, and I thought would be more, until I approached the person and realized it was one-sided. Um, and other times other people would mention it, other people would say it, and I guess somewhere in there, me and that person, we just never saw it like that. So it's not something that ever came up between the two of us. Um, so till this day, I would never know because I never saw it go down that avenue. I never saw it in that light. So I never have that what if in my head about it because it wasn't there. That makes sense. There's not a what if you never considered it otherwise. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not good at hints, so I've always tried to tell people if you're interested in me, I need to know because I don't know what to look for. I don't know what are signs of flirtation. I've had people tell me that they were interested in me after the fact, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know at all. Which is really weird because I could see other people interact and be involved, and I can peg it right away. Oh, she likes him, he likes her. But along the line, I started realizing because of all the stop and start situations with other people in my past, all the failed attempts to find a partner, I realized all those shared moments with people that were not my wife make it harder for me to find her now because I question myself. I feel like, did I already damage the part of me that is romantic, the part of me that is loving, the part of me that is nurturing and reassuring by being that to the wrong people? Did I do that for so long that now I don't even know how to do that for the right person? At times it gets rough, you know. At times I have to remind myself that I cannot let past situations dictate the future outcome of where I see myself headed and what I see for my life. But let's be honest. That's probably the key motivator to most of life's issues. Plain and simple. I mean, you can sugarcoat it as much as you want, but a lot of the problems that I have in my life is because of my own personal opinion of myself going into those situations. You know what I mean? I doubt if most of the women I'm interested in are interested in me because I've had so many that were interested in me that I just took advantage of, that I didn't appreciate, that I wasn't grateful for. And then I had others that I was really appreciative to even just have them around, thinking it was more than what it was, and realizing that no, they did not see it past just a friendship. They did not see it past just a coworker. They didn't see it as anything more than just a friendly neighbor. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I took the outcome of all those different situations and I've allowed it to affect my views. Now, going back into the dating world, getting back on the horse and trying again, I've allowed a lot of those negative outcomes and experiences to take some of my hope and faith in having a loving relationship away. And that's my own fault. It's something I have to take to God. It's something I have to work with Him on. But I can't expect to be in love with someone and be loved by someone if I continue to let these things stop me from loving someone. You know what I mean? I can't keep looking at, oh, uh, 15 years ago when I was really interested in a girl in high school and really wanted to take her to prom and she rejected me. That was shattering, and I never asked another girl to prom because that really broke my heart. Okay, so not only did you hold on to the rejection from 15 years ago, but you ruined any chance of going to prom with somebody that did want to go with you and enjoying it with you because you just shut down and you didn't even approach anyone else. And there might have been that one girl at your school that you were still interested in, and she was secretly interested in you, but because she saw you pursue someone else, she did what most women did, and she didn't approach you, and she let you go off with your choice, and your choice didn't work out. Your choice wasn't even interested in you like that. Your choice rejected you. But you didn't even go ask her because now you're so butthurt and you're so stuck in your feelings that you don't want anything to do with anyone. I went through that situation. It's the only reason I'm able to use that because I did find out years after high school, or after I moved city and states, and after going through a whole bunch of other moments relationship wise, I did come back across one of those women and was told that exact same thing. If I'd have just not given up on being able to enjoy the prom experience and found somebody that did want to go with me, the outcome would have been completely different because there was somebody there that did want to go with me, but I never went and asked. So even now in life, I find myself missing a lot of opportunities. And I can't really call them missed. I just call them lessons because in not having the victory in those moments, I learned new tools and new lessons and new jewels of wisdom to use toward the next opportunity. So, but again, it's hard for me to date in this day and age. I've come across so many women that I find attractive, and so many women that I would like to court and get to know. But unfortunately, there's all these lists of preferences that people throw out there and all these demands of what they expect from a partner. And let's be honest, people. Personally, just me talking. If you tell me your standards, your preferences, your expectations, your list of qualifications for a partner that you feel is adequate for you and you feel is a good candidate for you, and I'm being honest with myself, and I listen to this list or I review this list and I know it doesn't have me on there. I'm not 6 foot something. I don't have a 6-figure bank account. I don't live in no 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 4-car garage no more. If I know I'm not on your list, why would I approach you? Why would I say anything to you? Why would I even consider you as a possible point of interest if you've already made it clear you're not even looking for a guy like me? You're not even looking for a person that is content living within their means, not stressing off tomorrow because tomorrow is full of its own worries. I got enough things to worry about today just to get through today before I go to sleep. That's not the type of man you want. So why would I approach you? You've made it very clear a man of God is not who you're after. You're after a worldly man. You're after a man who is more concerned with financial gain and worldly accolades and achievements and goals. And that boy from the ways of the world than somebody that is centered on Christ, that is centered on God, that is not worried about having $1 million, that is not worried about having all the name brand outfits or diamonds and jewels. Yes, you see me rocking a necklace and a bracelet and a watch and an earring, but those aren't things that I aspire to. I'm so far from materialistic, it's not even funny. Like, that is probably the saddest thing about me. I could care less about anything that can be bought. Okay? Let's get that clear. I could care less. If it can be purchased, it's not worth having to me. My significance is based on meaningful connection. I'm not into investing for financial gain and prosperity. I'm not looking for benefactors or beneficial reasons to be connected to people. Will you stop? You're messing up my video. I'm not editing that out. I do everything like one rip, so you get what you got. I'm not that tight. There's no point in me lying to you, trying to make it sound like I have all the right words or trying to make everything great. I'm going to be as authentic with you guys as possible. So it is literally impossible, ladies, for a man of God to pursue you when you show that you're not a woman of God. It's even harder if you are trying to be a woman of God for this man of God to approach you, because a lot of times I know I've fallen short of being a man of God. So the humility and the meekness that it takes for me to admit my flaws and my shortcomings are also the points of reassurance and encouragement that a man like me needs from a prospective partner. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so appealing to me to garner a woman's attention and affection and ear, because I feel like if she's paying attention to me, or she's acknowledged my presence, she's looked past the surface, because the surface in most environments, in most situations that I present, chases most people off, makes most people stand back and be distant. You know what I mean? It's not welcoming at all. My aura, my energy is very intimidating. It's very aggressive. It is very standoffish. So for someone to push past that and introduce themselves to me or interact with me, it opens a whole new realm in my mind about that person. And especially when it's in an environment of my brothers and sisters in Christ, other people that believe the same beliefs that I have, or the same God and Lord and Savior and indweller that I believe in. Because most people, even in those environments, I still get the Heisman. I still get the stiff arm. I still get the, okay, I know you're here in God's house, but I've never seen you. I don't know you. We don't interact. I get that all the time. Bro, I perfected that. Because I literally did most of the time want people to read my energy and